Peasants podcast.
I gotta get a witness.
No! Say, man, you got a joint? No, not on me, man.
I don't have facts to back this up.
It'd be a lot cooler if you did.
That's true. Sometimes I cry.
Oh! Lick my butthole, he laughed.
From the strangest corners of the internet, here to bring you opinions of the world from an altered perspective. Here are your hosts, the Drunken Peasants.
Hey everybody, welcome back.
Fuck it.
Welcome back. We're doing it live here on the DP podcast situation, individuals. And we're here. We're doing a special stream. We're gonna react to Kamala Harris and Tim Walz's first formal interview since jumping into the race for the presidency and vice presidency. And then after that, we're going to talk about actual Mania summer scam, which is going to be
Egghead.
Yep, it's our private show. We're going to do it tonight after this stream is over. Egghead is competing against a mystery opponent for the newly restored Cringerweight Championship, which many of you might remember. It defined Egghead as a man. This title.
It's the only thing Egghead ever did with his life that he was proud of.
Exactly. It defined Egghead as a man. So, yeah, we'll talk a little bit about that later because Egghead may cry tonight. He may or may not cry. Tears of joy or tears of anguish. We'll see. We'll see. Yeah.
I wonder what Egghead's doing right now. Is he preparing for this matchup? He has no idea who he's facing, right?
He actually does, but nobody else does.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. One other thing I want to promo. Well, a few other things. All of you at the $33 level, you're going to get this as a sticker mailed to you. You should sign up before the end of the month if you would like this beautiful Drunken Peasants manatee mac and cheese, or chili no cheese, rather. Chili no cheese sticker. And if you'd like it in t-shirt form, sign up at the $50 level. You'll get the sticker and the shirt. If you sign up at the $50 level, patreon.com/DP. Sign up before the end of the month to get yourself one of these cool pieces of merch. I actually ordered a few of the shirts myself just to see what they were actually like, and they're pretty good. Like, the print is really good. It looks like it's durable, like it can handle the wash, and the fabric of the shirt, pretty good. So I liked it. You guys can check it out. They're limited edition. They've only been available through the Patreon. So sign up, patreon.com/DP. Also sign up to see the show tonight that we're going to do. And also, we're really far away from our goal, and we have one more stream tomorrow. So if anyone's out there, you want to drop some cash right now, use the link pinned right there in the chat throughout this stream. Get us a little bit closer.
If there's any sexy billionaires out there.
All right, we're going to check. We're going to jump right into it. Kamala Harris and Tim Walz's first interview. Interesting how they chose to do it together.
Well, it's their first interview together, right? She's done interviews before.
No, this is their first formal interview since announcing she's running for president. Yeah.
Did she do one with Dana Bash recently?
Let's see.
Madam Vice President, Governor Walz, thank you so much for sitting down with me and bringing the bus.
Or is this the Dana Bash interview?
Bus tour is
yes, this is Dana Bash
here in Georgia.
This is the interview. She has not done she's done campaign rallies, but she's not done an interview since they announced she was running.
You have less time to make your case to voters than any candidate in modern American history. The voters are really eager to hear what your plans are. If you are elected, what would you do on day one in the White House?
Well, there are a number of things. I will tell you, first and foremost, one of my highest priorities is to do what we can to support and strengthen the middle class. When I look at the aspirations, the goals, the ambitions of the American people.
So I know that's who she needs to vote for her most of all. But
yeah, is there a middle class anymore?
There's a class in the middle. Is it like it used to be? No. but there's still like the majority of people are somewhere in the middle, and then there's like mega rich, and then there's people sleeping in boxes. You know, the people sleeping in boxes don't normally vote. So like the people who perceive themselves as middle class, she's speaking to them because their votes matter just as much. Like they all get one vote each, you know? So she needs those people's votes, but I don't know if she necessarily I don't know if she necessarily wants to strengthen the middle class, but we'll see.
I think that people are ready for a new way forward. In a way that generations of Americans have been fueled
Better
by
not support the middle class boy.
I'm gonna support the middle class boy.
By hope and by optimism. I think sadly, in the last decade, we have had in the former president someone who has really been pushing an agenda and an environment that is about diminishing the character and the strength of who we are as Americans, really dividing our nation, and I think people are ready to turn the page on that.
So what would you do day one?
Day one, it's going to be about, one, implementing my plan for what I call an opportunity economy. I've already laid out a number.
What does that mean?
Does that mean everything is going to be like Uber now? Everybody gets to work on call as an opportunity?
I think that's more like Project 2025.
Oh.
Yeah.
In that regard, which include what we're going to do to bring down the cost of everyday goods, what we're going to do to invest in America's small businesses, what we're going to do to invest in families. For example, extending the child tax credit to $6,000 for families.
Let's reward people for having more kids that they can't afford. Let's reward that.
First year.
Don't they limit it at a certain point?
I don't believe so. I don't know, because I don't have kids, so I've never actually experienced it. I worked with this guy years ago, like 15 years ago, and he was a Mormon guy and had a whole bunch of kids, and he didn't pay any federal income tax because of it.
Oh.
So I don't know. I don't know if it's changed.
Of their child's life to help them buy a car seat.
Is it up to 5? Well, there you go.
Baby clothes, a crib. There's the work that we're going to do that is about investing in the American family around affordable housing, a big issue in our country right now. So there are a number of things on day one.
What about you?
Well, I'm excited about this agenda, too. As I said, the idea of inspiring America to what can be. And I think many of these things that the Vice President's proposing are things that we share in values. And the child tax credit is one we know that reduces childhood poverty by 1/3. We did it in Minnesota to have a federal partner in this.
We don't want to hear from you. Your son's proud of you. That's disgusting.
Unbelievable, I think, in the impact that we can make.
You talked about, you call it the opportunity economy. Yeah. You are well aware that right now many Americans are struggling. There's a crisis of affordability. Yeah. One of your campaign themes is we're not going back. But I wonder what you say to voters who do want to go back when it comes to the economy.
Well, I mean, like, what are we going back to? Because we've had Biden for 4 years. It's the administration she's been a part of. Like, I understand what she means, but it's just kind of weird because like we're dealing with these issues now. So all these plans that she had, that she claims to have now, and I'm voting for Kamala, but I'm doing kind of I want to be more critical of what she's saying, and it's like why these things that she's advocating for, if she becomes president, why hasn't she been in Biden's ear the last 4 years trying to make this shit happen?
Biden has been doing a lot. He got his way into a complete mess. We had ports shut down everywhere. Everything was falling apart with COVID and the massive distribution of wealth that went from shutting down most businesses and allowing uber rich companies like Amazon and everybody else to continue operating while mom and pops folded. It really destroyed our economy.
Well, there was also
been rebuilding.
There was a supply chain shortage too. That was a big supply
partially because of COVID shutting everything down, right?
Yes. Yeah. There were ships just sitting, like ships bringing in goods from other parts of the world that couldn't dock and unload their supplies. Yeah.
Specifically, because their groceries were less expensive, housing was more affordable when Donald Trump was president.
By the way, I'm going to respond really quick here. I know it's not the VP's job to make the decision, but the VP has a direct line to the president. They have more of an ability to influence the president than most other people do. That's what I'm saying. I said, why isn't she in Biden's ear and advocating for these things already?
Well,
I didn't say why did she, like, when did I say she should have done this?
Start with
I didn't
the
say
fact that when Joe Biden and I came in office, during the height of a pandemic, we saw over 10 million jobs were lost. People, I mean, literally, we were all tracking the numbers. Hundreds of people a day were dying because of COVID. The economy had crashed. In large part, all of that because of mismanagement by Donald Trump of that crisis. When we came in, our highest...
It was mismanaged, and I think that had a lot to do with why Trump lost, but I also think that's where the weird conspiracy theories come from, where the crazy people basically say that COVID was, created by the left to hurt Trump's reputation and make him lose the election.
We don't know the full story behind COVID right now. We do know that there was a lot of
it definitely wasn't orchestrated by the left to make Donald Trump lose the election and to like create mail-in ballots so it could be more easily rigged. That's not what happened.
But there was definitely a lot going on there that probably should be studied for
what do you mean?
Corruption in the future. Is it the way that our system shut down and allowed certain things to prosper while others were not allowed to exist? Opinions weren't allowed to exist.
So you think that was orchestrated and not just an error of decision?
No, I think it was probably, I don't know if it was orchestrated, but I do think there were opportunists behind everything that specifically took advantage.
Oh, any
of the
major
situation.
world event, you're going to have opportunists. That's why every war, people get rich off of it. You know, natural disasters. And
priority was to do what we could to rescue America.
That's not the only reason.
And today, we know that we have inflation at under 3%. A lot of our policies have led to the reality that America recovered faster than any wealthy nation around the world. But you are right. Prices, in particular for groceries, are still too high. The American people know it, I know it. Which is why my agenda includes what we need to do to bring down the price of groceries. For example, dealing with an issue like price gouging. What we need to do to extend the child tax credit to help young families be able to take care of their children in their most formative years. What we need to do to bring down the cost of housing. My proposal includes what would be a tax credit of $25,000 for first-time home buyers, so they can just have enough to put a down payment on a home.
They were doing.
Let me get that.
Under Obama, they had like a housing. Was it? It was either towards the end of Bush or like the beginning of Obama. I can't remember. Was it Obama?
It was Obama. It was the first-time home buyer, and it ran through Obama. It ran for quite a long time.
Yeah. It was because before that there were there was like all of the home loan like
the 2008.
Yes.
What was that movie they made about it?
I don't know, dude. I don't watch movies.
Part of the American dream and their aspiration, but do it in a way that allows them to actually get on the path to achieving that goal and that dream.
So you have been vice president for 3.5 years.
Yeah.
The steps that you're talking about now, why haven't you done them already?
Well, first of all, we had to recover as an economy, and we have done that. I'm very proud of the work that we have done that has brought inflation down to less than 3%. The work that we have done to cap the cost of insulin at $35 a month for seniors. Donald Trump said he was going to do a number of things, including allowing Medicare to negotiate drug prices. Never happened. We did it. So now, as I travel in the state of Georgia and around our country, the number of seniors that have benefited. I was in Nevada recently, a grandmother who showed me her receipts. And before we capped the cost of insulin for seniors at $35 a month, she was paying hundreds of dollars, up to thousands of dollars a month for her insulin. She's not doing that anymore.
You maintain Bidenomics is a success.
Bidenomics. I hate this.
Wow.
How we just name the economics of whoever happened to be president at the time. That's what we call it. Reaganomics. I've heard it so many times. I don't know. Can we come up with new terms?
that when we do the work of bringing down prescription medication for the American people, including capping the cost of the annual cost of prescription medication for
I
seniors
haven't heard
at $2,000.
Bidenomics used before.
I've
Is
heard
there
it, but it's not
actually
as
an economic
prevalent.
plan that Biden implemented that was specifically a new way to do things, the way Reaganomics was introduced?
Not that I can think of. I could be wrong, but I can't think of anything.
Yeah, I'm like, what did Biden pretty much just implemented things that would allow for some restructure in a failing economy?
You know, I'm Bidenomics phobic.
Yeah, if I was going to do anything like Biden, it would be sniff little girls' hair.
Bidenomics phobia gate.
When we do what we did in the first year of being in office to extend the child tax credit so that we cut child poverty in America by over 50%, when we do what we have done to invest in the American people.
See,
and
I don't know
bringing
about this child poverty thing either. When I was a kid, I got like $5 a week for allowance. That's poverty.
I didn't
What are
get
they
an
giving kids
allowance.
nowadays?
I never got an allowance.
manufacturing back to the United States so that we created over 800,000 new manufacturing jobs, bringing business back to America. What we have done to improve the supply chain so we're not relying on foreign governments to supply American families with their basic needs, I'll say that that's good work. There's more to do, but that's good work.
I want to get some clarity on where
There you go.
stand on some
She asked her, why
key-
didn't she do these things? She's like, well, these are the things we did do. And there's more to do.
That's a good response.
That's the right response.
Yes. Yeah,
She's
asking
like, what do you think
someone
we were
why
doing for
they
the last 4 years.
asking someone why they didn't do something, it's like it's kind of a trick question. Like how do I know why I didn't do it? I chose to do this other
policy
thing.
issues. Energy is a big one. When you were in Congress, you supported the Green New Deal. And in 2019, you said, quote, there is no question I'm in favor of banning fracking. Fracking, as you know, is a pretty big issue, particularly in your must-win state of Pennsylvania.
Sure.
Do you still want to ban fracking?
No, and I made that clear on the debate stage in 2020 that
Why not, though?
I would not ban fracking.
Because
as
too many people make money off it. It's an economy that is an Americanized economy. The same reason they haven't banned coal mining, right? Like,
You know, yeah, I mean, fracking is. There's other ways to harvest natural gas other than like sticking machinery super deep down underground and like messing around with, you know, pockets of natural gas the way that they do. That's why they have earthquakes where they didn't used to have them.
I don't think a lot of our infrastructure in the United States is the best way to do things. I think it's the way that we do things because of the people who have the sway, political power, money, and control over our country.
And that's why you need. That's why sometimes you need regulation to interfere with that. It's just funny that now that she's running. Did she say she said the same thing in 2020 when she was running for president the first time?
2020 as well. She was not going to ban fracking.
So, yeah. So when she had presidential aspirations, she flipped on it.
Vice President, I did not ban fracking. As president, I will not ban fracking.
And as everyone said earlier, as vice president, she couldn't have banned fracking even if she wanted to. She could have made her opinion known. She could have talked to the right people, but she doesn't have ultimate control over it.
In 2019, I believe, in a town hall, you said you were asked, would you commit to implementing a federal ban on fracking on your first day in office? And you said, there's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking. So yes. So
Was that
it changed
2012,
in that campaign?
In 2020, I made very clear where I stand. We are in 2024, and I've not changed that position, nor will I going forward. I kept my word, and I will keep my word.
What made you change that position at the time?
Well, let's be clear. My values have not changed. I believe it is very important that we take seriously what we must do to guard against what is a clear crisis in terms of the climate. And to do that, we can do what we have accomplished thus far. The Inflation Reduction Act, what we have done to invest, by my calculation, over probably $1 trillion over the next 10 years, investing in a clean energy economy. What we've already done, creating over 300,000 new clean energy jobs. That tells me.
All right. Fucking Bill Hicks. He says dumb shit in the chat all the time. How would you harvest natural gas without fracking? Well, they were doing it before fracking was a thing, Bill Hicks. They've been harvesting natural gas way before we were fracking for it. There are conventional natural gas reservoirs.
Yeah, fracking gets the unconventional gas reservoirs.
Right. Yeah, they fuck with shit so deep underground that you're shifting tectonic plates and shit.
Honestly, this is how you get Cthulhu, guys.
The layers of the earth are being fucked with to free up more natural gas. I mean, there are parts of the country where the natural gas is so close to the surface. I mean, you guys have seen like the Gasland documentary and shit, right? We're like,
I haven't seen it.
Have you ever? They started. Well, what they did, that was the result of fracking moving too much natural gas to the surface to where it got into the water supply, and you could like light gas on fire. Or water, rather. You could light water on fire.
From my experience as vice president, we can do it without banning fracking. In fact, Dana, excuse me, I cast the tie-breaking vote that actually increased leases for fracking as vice president.
Howdy.
So I'm very clear about where I stand.
And was there some policy or scientific data that you saw that you said, oh, okay, I get it now?
What I have seen is that we can grow and we can increase a thriving clean energy economy without banning fracking.
Okay.
All right. So
she's saying she's going to offer other opportunities for clean with fracking. Hopefully, the new opportunities she offers, if she can get the legislation to pass these opportunities to make them viable and reasonable, will allow fracking to be not the main source. And then that means less fracking, more energy from other sources. That's her answer.
And I don't think, obviously, we can't just stop the harmful ways of generating energy like cold turkey. So yeah, they do need to move in that direction and make like a slow transition. 100%.
I think everybody with an IQ over 140 should get an Iron Man suit.
Okay. Another issue, big one, is immigration. As vice president, you were tasked with addressing the root causes of migration in southern countries and
northern part of Central America.
The northern part of Central America that affects the southern border of the U.S. During the Biden-Harris administration, there were record numbers of illegal border crossings. Why did the Biden-Harris administration wait 3.5 years to implement sweeping asylum restrictions?
Well, first of all, the root causes work that I did as vice president, that I was asked to do by the president, has actually resulted in a number of benefits, including historic investments by American businesses in that region. The number of immigrants coming from that region has actually reduced since we began that work. But I will say this, that Joe Biden and I and our administration worked with members of the United States Congress on an immigration issue that is very significant to the American people and to our security, which is the border. And through bipartisan work, including some of the most conservative members of the United States Congress, a bill was crafted, which we supported, which I support. And Donald Trump got word of this bill that would have contributed to securing our border, and because he believes that it would not have helped him politically, he told his folks in Congress, don't put it forward. He killed the bill. A border security bill that would have put 1,500 more agents on the border. And let me tell you something, the Border Patrol endorsed the bill. And I'm sure in large part because they knew they were working around the clock, and 1,500 more agents would help them. That bill would have allowed us to increase seizures of fentanyl. Ask any community in America that has been devastated by fentanyl what passing that bill would have done to address their concern and a pain that they've experienced.
So you would push that legislation again? I just want to ask
about... Not only push it, I will make sure that it comes to my desk and I would sign it.
Just one other question about something that you said in 2019 when you first ran. There was a debate. You raised your hand when asked whether or not the border should be decriminalized. Do you still believe that?
I believe there should be consequence. We have laws that have to be followed and enforced. that address and deal with people who cross our border illegally, and there should be consequence. And let's be clear, in this race, I'm the only person who has prosecuted transnational criminal organizations who traffic in guns, drugs, and human beings.
What?
I'm the only person in this race who actually served a border state as Attorney General to enforce our laws, and I would enforce our laws as
fentanyl,
President.
by the way. As good as it sounds, as hyped up as fentanyl is, it's not cool. It's actually very icky. Most people don't even do fentanyl for the first time thinking it's fentanyl. They get it dosed up in other stuff and they want more of that craving. It's not even a good, sweet, delicious drug.
Forward, I recognize the problem.
Generally speaking, how should voters look at some of the changes that you've made, that you've explained some of here in your policy? Is it because you have more experience now and you've learned more about the information? Is it because you were running for president in a Democratic primary? And should they feel comfortable and confident that what you're saying now is going to be your policy moving forward?
Dana, I think the most important and most significant aspect of my policy perspective and decisions is my values have not changed. You mentioned the Green New Deal. I have always believed, and I have worked on it, that the climate crisis is real, that it is an urgent matter to which we should apply metrics that include holding ourselves to deadlines around time. We did that with the Inflation Reduction Act. We have set goals for the United States of America and by extension the globe around when we should meet certain standards for reduction of greenhouse gas emissions, as an example. That value has not changed. My value around what we need to do to secure our border, that value has not changed. I spent 2 terms as the attorney.
You know what though? I don't like the idea that they can't change their mind. Like they have to be right from day one and they can't have a change of opinion on something that's somehow a bad thing. Like, oh, you used to say this, but now you say that.
Everything with time should be allocated the ability to change.
But I do have a problem when in my opinion, they had the right position and then they moved it to the wrong position just because it was politically advantageous of them to do so. But they can still do it. They have the right to do it.
General of California, prosecuting transnational criminal organizations, violations of American laws regarding the illegal passage of guns, drugs, and human beings across our border. My values have not changed. So that is the reality of it. In 4 years of being vice president, I'll tell you, one of the aspects to your point is traveling the country extensively. I mean, I'm here in Georgia. I think somebody told me 17 times since I've been vice president in Georgia alone. I believe it is important to build consensus. And it is important to find a common place of understanding of where we can actually solve problems.
On that note, you had a lot of Republican speakers at the convention. Yeah. Will you appoint a Republican to your cabinet?
Yes, I would.
Anyone in mind?
Yes, I would. No one in particular in mind. We got 68 days to go with this election, so I'm not putting the cart before the...
There were plenty of Republicans that campaigned at the DNC for her. So
was Mitt Romney there for her?
No, he wasn't. Not that I saw. There were a few others. Not as well known as Mitt Romney, though.
Of course, but I would. I think it's really important.
Pretty sure George Bush is voting for her, as far as I can tell.
Yeah. I don't think he's publicly said so, but I think they said 200 of his staffers have came out to support her.
Yeah. So there are Republicans voting for her.
I have spent my career inviting diversity of opinion. I think it's important to have people at the table when some of the most important decisions are being made that have different views, different experiences. And I think it would be to the benefit of the American public to have a member of my cabinet who was a Republican.
I think George Bush is going to vote for whoever Michelle Obama tells him to.
Your opponent, Donald Trump.
Okay.
I was a little bit surprised. People might be surprised to hear that you have never interacted with him, met him face to face. That's going to change soon. But what I want to ask you about is what he said last month. He suggested that you happened to turn black recently for political purposes, questioning a core part of your identity.
Yeah.
Any?
Same old tired playbook. Next question,
Whoa!
please.
That's it?
That's it.
Okay. Let's talk about some foreign policy issues that would be on your plate if you become commander-in-chief. President Biden has tried unsuccessfully to end the war between Israel and Hamas in Gaza. He's been doing it for months and months, along with you. Would you do anything differently? For example, would you withhold some U.S. weapons shipments to Israel? That's what a lot of people on the progressive left want you to do.
Let me be very clear. I'm unequivocal and unwavering in my commitment to Israel's defense and its ability to defend itself. And that's not going to change. But let's take a step back. October 7, 1,200 people were massacred. Many young people who were simply attending a music festival. Women were horribly raped. As I said then, I say today, Israel has a right to defend itself. We would. And how it does so matters. Far too many innocent Palestinians have been killed. And we have got to get a deal done. We were in Doha. Mm-hmm. We have to get a deal done. This war must end.
In the meantime,
and we must get a deal that is about getting the hostages out. I've met with the families of the American hostages. Let's get the hostages out. Let's get the ceasefire done.
But no change in policy in terms of arms and so forth.
No, we have to get a deal done.
What?
No, we have to get a deal done. When you look at the significance of this to the families, to the people who are living in that region, a deal is not only the right thing to do to end this war, but will unlock so much of what must happen next. I remain committed since I've been on October 8 to what we must do to work toward a two-state solution, where Israel is secure and in equal measure, the Palestinians have security and self-determination and dignity.
They need some self-determination.
Governor
That's
Walz.
what the Palestinians need.
The country is just starting to get to know you. I want to ask you a question about how you've described your service in the National Guard. You said that you carried weapons in war, but you have never deployed actually in a war zone. A campaign official said that you misspoke. Did you?
Well, first of all, I'm incredibly proud. I've done 24 years of wearing the uniform of this country. Equally proud of my service in a public school classroom, whether it's Congress or the governor. My record speaks for itself, but I think people are coming to get to know me. I speak like they do. I speak candidly. I wear my emotions on my sleeves, and I speak especially passionately about our children being shot in schools and around guns. So I think people know me. They know who I am. They know where
he spent
where
more
my
time
heart
around
is.
guns
again,
when he was a
my
teacher
record has
than
been
when he
out
was in the military.
there for over 40 years to speak for itself.
And the idea that you said that you were in war. Yeah. Did you misspeak, as the campaign has said?
Yeah, I said we were talking about, in this case, this was after a school shooting, the ideas of carrying these weapons of war. And my wife, the English teacher, told me my grammar's not always correct. But again, if it's not this, it's an attack on my children for showing love for me, or it's an attack on my dog. I'm not going to do that. And the one thing I'll never do is I'll never demean another member's service in any way. I never have, and I never will.
I just one other question, because again, this is all new.
Yeah.
This was not, however many days ago, this was not on either of your bingo cards, especially yours. You had to clarify that you had said that you and your wife used IVF, but it turned out you used a different kind of fertility in order to have children. And then when you ran for Congress in 2006, your campaign repeatedly made false statements about a 1995 arrest for drunk and reckless driving.
Oh, no!
1995 arrest, they said?
Yeah, for a DUI.
Oh, shit. You mean he was partying back when partying was still cool?
What do you say to voters who aren't sure whether they can take you at your word?
Well, I've been very
Honestly,
public.
They only started giving out DUIs in the 90s. Back in the 70s, you could run over a kid and they'll just point you what direction to go home.
I think they can see my students come out, former folks I've served with, and they vouch for me. I certainly own my mistakes when I make them. The one thing I'll tell you is I wished in this country wouldn't have to do this. I spoke about our infertility issues because it's hell, and families know this. And I spoke about the treatments that were available to us that had those beautiful children there. That's quite a contrast in folks that are trying to take those rights away from us. And so I think people know who I am. They know that record. They've seen that. I've taught thousands of students. I've been out there. And I won't apologize for speaking passionately, whether it's guns in schools or protecting of reproductive rights. The contrast could not be clearer between what we're running against. The vice president's position on this has been clear.
But she's not tax-free.
Yeah, for real.
I think most Americans get it if you've been through that. I don't think they're cutting hairs on IVF or IUI. I think what they're cutting hairs on is an abortion ban and the ability to be able to deny families the chance to have a beautiful child.
Vice President Harris, you were a very staunch
Holler if
defender
you
of
hear me.
President
How you
Biden's
doing, Luke?
capacity to serve another 4 years. Right after the debate, you insisted that President Biden is extraordinarily strong. Given where we are now, do you have any regrets about what you told the American people?
No, not at all. Not at all. I have served with President Biden for almost 4 years now, and I'll tell you, it's one of the greatest honors of my career, truly. He cares so deeply about the American people. He is so smart and loyal to the American people. And I have spent hours upon hours with him, be it in the Oval Office or the Situation Room.
The Situation Room.
He has the intelligence, the commitment, and the judgment and disposition that I think the American people rightly deserve in their president. By contrast, the former president has none of that. And so, one, I am so proud to have served as vice president to Joe Biden. And two, I am so proud to be running with Tim Walz for president of the United States and to bring America what I believe the American people deserve, which is a new way forward, and turn the page on the last decade of what I believe has been contrary to where the spirit of our country really lies.
But the last decade, of course, the last 3.5 years.
Right. The last decade includes nearly 4 years of Biden being president.
Has been part of your administration.
I'm talking about an era that started about a decade ago, where there is some suggestion.
She's talking about the MAGA era.
Warped, I believe it to be.
Yeah, there was a 10th anniversary of Gamergate stream. Yeah.
How many people were still aligned with what Gamergate stood for?
Ethan Ralph.
And how many of them were in jail?
Ethan Ralph hosted it, and he had Milo and Sargon on. And I think Mundane Matt may have been part of it at some point, maybe on a different stream. I don't know how many different streams there were, but I saw one that Ethan Ralph did.
Were they all trying to sell mugs or ceramic Jesus statues?
No, they were just jerking themselves off.
The strength of a leader is based on who you beat down, instead of where I believe most Americans are, which is to believe that the true measure of the strength of a leader is based on who you lift up. That's what's at stake as much as any other detail that we could discuss in this election.
Because we haven't had a chance to talk, I'm just curious, staying on President Biden, when he called you and said he was pulling out of the race, what was that like? And did he offer to endorse you right away, or did you ask for it?
It was a Sunday, so here, I'll give you a little too much information.
Go for it. There's no such thing, Madam Vice President.
My family was staying with us, and including my baby nieces, and we had just had pancakes and, Auntie, can I have more bacon? Yes, I'll make you more bacon. And then we were sitting down to do a puzzle. And the phone rang, and it was Joe Biden. And
he thought he was calling his mom, who's been dead for a few decades now.
And he told me what he had decided to do. And
Mother, I'm stuck here. I don't know how to get out.
Can't find the ice cream.
Chocolate
I asked
chip.
him, are you sure? And he said yes. And
by the way, earlier Bill Hicks was like, you had to look it up on Google. It's like, no, dude, I was just pulling it up on Google to show you that they've been harvesting natural gas for a very long time. They did not have the technology to do fracking. That's like a fairly recent thing in the history of harvesting natural gas.
Yeah, dumb shit, Bill Hicks.
He is
Stupid idiot.
A lot of times I just think he's
idiot, Bill Hicks.
Sometimes I just think he's trolling.
And that's how I learned about it.
And what about the endorsement? Did you ask for it?
He was very clear that he was going to support me.
So when he called to tell you, he said, I'm pulling out of the race and I'm going to support you.
Well, my first thought was not about me, to be honest with you. My first thought was about him, to be honest.
Oh, look at Kamala. She's so thoughtful.
I think history is going to show a number of things about Joe Biden's presidency. I think history is going to show that in so many ways it was transformative, be it on what we have accomplished around finally investing in America's infrastructure, investing in new economies, in new industries, what we have done to bring our allies back together and have confidence in who we are as America and grow that alliance, what we have done to stand true to our principles, including the one of the most important international rules and norms, which is the importance of sovereignty and territorial integrity. And I think
Roger Wilco says fracking was from 1949. Yeah, that's why I said it's fairly recent in the history of harvesting natural gas. They started harvesting natural gas more than 100 years prior to that. In the early, 1821 is when they first started harvesting natural gas in the United States.
Israel is older than fracking.
I think history is going to show not only has Joe Biden led an administration that has achieved those extraordinary successes, but the character of the man is one that he has been in his life and career, including as a president, quite selfless and puts the American people first.
I just have to ask you both about two standout moments, aside, of course, from the addresses that you both gave, but standout moments that were perhaps unexpected during the convention. You mentioned one of them, Governor. A moment that you shared, that the world shared with your son, Gus. You were speaking, the camera caught him, so incredibly proud of you, so emotional, saying, "That's my dad."
Yeah, I don't know as a father I could have ever imagined.
Does he have is he developmentally challenged or something?
Yeah, I do believe he is a special needs child, which makes it even worse.
No,
oh my God.
It makes it really bad that people are going to talk trash about him. It makes
Save
that
it for
even
the
worse.
short bus.
Oh
Doofy.
my God. Doofy. That character made me laugh so hard. Because it was like a weird play on Dewey from Scream.
Even if he wasn't special needs, good on you for being excited about.
Sure.
I wish I had enough excitement in my heart for anything that this kid has. It's only unfair that he also, gets to play with boogers and shit as an adult.
I'm grateful for so many reasons to be on this ticket, but that moment, to understand what was really important, to have my son feel a sense of pride in me, that I was trying to do the right thing. And it was, you try and protect your kids, it brings notoriety and things, but it was just such a visceral, emotional moment that I'm grateful I got to experience it, and I'm so proud of him. I'm proud of him. I'm proud of Hope. I'm proud of Gwen.
And why don't you
wonderful
cry?
Mother,
You're
and
really
these are
proud of
great
your son.
kids.
Cry
And
like he did.
I think the one
pussy.
thing is talking
Cry.
about the era we're in is our politics can be better. It can be different. We can show some of these things, and we can have families involved in this. And I hope that I hope people felt that out there, and I hope they hug their kids a little tighter, because you just never know.
Did you see the
Life can
video from the RNC when Tiffany Trump tried to give Donald Trump a hug, and he just fucking denied her completely and ignored her?
kind of hard.
And last question, Madam Vice President, the photograph that has gone viral. You were speaking, one of your grandnieces that you were just talking about was watching you accept the nomination. You didn't explicitly talk about gender or race in your speech, but it obviously means a lot to a lot of people, and that's a good photograph. Picture really says it.
Yeah,
it's almost as good as when Trump came up from getting shot. That was a really good photograph.
Whoever snapped that photo knew what they were doing, but yeah, it was well played.
What does it mean to you?
Yeah.
I am running because I believe that I am the best person to do this job at this moment.
Republicans make fun of the kid because they don't understand how their children could ever be proud of them. Also shit up Bill Hicks.
Yeah, everybody send in your donos right now to shit on Bill Hicks.
Yes, please. We could use them. Bill Hicks talks all the shit in the world, and he sends no donos.
For all Americans, regardless of race and gender. But I did see that photograph, and I was deeply touched by it. And you're right, it's the back of her head, her two little braids, and then I'm in the front of
like
the
this
photograph.
Picture
obviously.
Says a lot. It only sucks the flags aren't more balanced.
Yes. Yes.
Speaking. And
what did Tim Walz's son set up those flags or something?
Whoa, Ben. I'm very proud of those flags.
Humbling. It's very humbling in many ways.
Did she talk to you about it afterwards?
Oh, she had a lot to talk
Heidgall in the chat asks, is she Slurpee Indian or is she Wah 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 Indian? She's Slurpee Indian, dude. Get it right.
She had a lot. She listened to everything, and she listens to everything.
Give you your hot take.
I usually call it Eastern Indian, and then I usually would say Native American, or I'd say American Indian if you want to say Indian.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, there's also red dot or feather, depending on the level of racism you're looking for.
I've heard that one before too.
Madam Vice President, Governor Walz, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you, Dana. Thank you.
All right. Everyone, please like the stream. Right now, I'm going to go through tonight's exciting card for Actual Mania Summer Scam. It's actually the 5th anniversary of Actual Mania. The 5th
5 years.
5 years. We've got a really cool double main event, and we'll get to that in a second here. We'll start from the beginning of the card and work our way up here. So first match tonight is going to be the Mad Clown, an Actual Mania veteran versus a newcomer, Dot Executables. 1-on-1, the Mad Clown versus Dot Executables. And for those of you who don't know how it works, we take videos from these two individuals and we play them, and then you, the viewers, vote on who you think won. And that's how it works.
Last time we saw Dot Executables, didn't he eat poop?
Yeah, he ate a turd out of a front yard. That was just a promo too. That was just a promo. That wasn't even the regular video. Also, the next match on the card, Lord Magicus against Vito Giswaldi, or Jiz, however you say his name. Is it Giswaldi?
Vito Giswaldi, yeah.
Giswaldi.
Vito Giswaldi. Vito is competing.
Yes.
This is going to be nasty.
Versus Lord Magicus. All right.
Oh, wow.
And then we're going to have a match, a triple threat match for the Gift of the Gourds title, which is, where is it? Right here. The Gift of the Gourds title. Whoever holds this title gets a shot at the championship and a 12% boost in their polling on their championship match. And tonight we're going to have Big Diesel, who holds, I believe, 3 of these medallions.
Okay.
Actually, I think it might be Rat Lord that holds 3 of them. So Rat Lord holds the Manatee one, which is the most valuable one, and maybe 1 or 2 of the others. I'll have to look at my notes. But and then Big Diesel has 2, and then we've got former champion Captain Kool-Aid's with 1 medallion.
Wow.
Yeah, so Rat Lord has, let me see. Rat Lord has the Jared medallion and the Manatee medallion.
Okay.
So that's a 7% bonus. And then Big Diesel has the JF and the Cobra medallion.
Oh, wow.
And that's a 4% bonus. And then Captain Kool-Aid's only has the Cyrax medallion.
That's a 1% bonus?
That's a 1% bonus.
And Captain Kool-Aid's filmed this video with a broken freaking wrist.
Yeah. Yeah, that is true. Yep. Yeah, so he's at a disadvantage tonight. That's what chronic masturbation will do to you.
Yeah, but advantages, disadvantages, the winner of this match will have the advantage of all advantages.
Yes.
The gift of the gourds.
Yes. The secondary main event, we got a big double main event. It's for the actual Mania World Heavyweight Championship. We've got the world champion Drake Dragsaw versus Danger Dude in a 2 out of 3 falls match, which means we could end up seeing 3 videos from both of them, at least 2 sets of videos. Because, yeah.
Drake Dragsaw, Danger Dude, they're both double Ds. You know what happens when 2 double Ds smash against each other. Good times.
And then we have the return of the Cringerweight Championship. We've got Egghead, former multiple-time Cringerweight champion, former multiple-time world champion, against a mystery opponent that only he knows. Only he knows who he's going up against tonight.
Yeah. Egghead, he's long been known as the Cringerweight champion. He's been known as many things. The Cringe is big. He's the master of the micro penis. He's got so many monikers, and we have no idea who he's going up against. This is somebody about to make a name for themselves tonight.
He might get mad and quit, but we don't know. Originally, we were going to have Ruby Jules, but Ruby Jules did Ruby Jules. He did what Ruby Jules does. Hold on. The day after we announced it, he sent me a message, like we did that whole thing, and he was like in the chat like, "Hi, Egghead, I'm gonna beat you." And then the next morning, I woke up to a DM from Ruby Jules quitting. Literally the next morning, not even like 8 hours later.
Yeah, it's awesome because like when we call this actual Mania, it's because we literally have real fans of our show that are mentally crazy. They're actually manic. They're actually maniacs. We can't expect them to do anything, and that's why when they do something, we celebrate it. Egghead, you were the Cringerweight champion. You have the chance to retain the title. This is whoever this secret person is. They have a chance to dethrone the master of the micro penis tonight at Actual Mania Summer Scam, the 5th anniversary.
And how can you get Actual Mania? I'm glad you asked. There's a link right there in the chat through our Patreon. Just sign up $5. We'll get you a front row seat tonight at Actual Mania 59 Summer Scam. Please sign up for $5. Get a lot of entertainment tonight, including our back catalog as well as.
Yeah. But it's not just the $5 patrons, $10 patrons, $15 patrons, $50, $100 patrons. You're all welcome.
There's different levels. Yeah. Plus, yeah, all lower tier perks. I'm going to put the link to the Patreon post. You can go to it. You just can't view it until you become a patron at $5 or more. But there it is. I'll just pin it to the top right now. Because we're going to go do that in a couple minutes here in like 5 minutes. We're going to start that show. You should sign up. They put a lot of work to it. Like these guys make some pretty entertaining videos.
Yeah, even the ones that suck, we dump on them so hard that it's hilarious.
I think the ones that suck have their own value too. Like suck. I don't know. I find value in all of them. Some of them are, they creatively suck.
Like a good father, I like some of my children more than others.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's the link right there. Let's see. That's pretty much.
I rank my children in order of favorite, like Fritz von Erich did, and I expect nothing bad to come of that.
Yeah. I didn't really like. I mean, there were some good parts to Iron Claw, but there was some very questionable parts, like that didn't line up with reality, and they left out one whole brother. There was a Von Erich brother that they didn't even have in the fucking movie that also killed himself.
That's how amazing the movie is. As horrible as you think it is, real life is worse.
I just thought that they'd tell the whole story. They like intentionally left out a whole brother. He was like
Hollywood, though.
He was like the runt of the litter. He wasn't like a big guy. He tried to wrestle, but he was the least accomplished in wrestling out of all of them.
They kind of mixed his story in with was it the
other
tornado?
one.
The way he died. I thought the way he died was the way that brother died.
No, Kerry did shoot himself in the woods. That was real. That's really what happened. He left his car running with like the door open. I can't remember how the youngest guy died.
I thought the Kevin found the youngest guy the way he found Carrie, and he didn't actually find Carrie like that in real life. That's why I thought that it was like married, but I could be wrong. The movie, if you guys don't know, Iron Claw is a story of the Von Erich wrestling family, who arguably are the second or third most tragic wrestling family.
I don't know. They might be the most. I don't know.
I don't know. There's so many tragic wrestling families. The Hart Foundation is really up there.
Yeah, but most of them, like, there wasn't a lot of suicides. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of them died from like drug abuse and then like the accident with Owen. But a lot of them are still around too. There's only one Von Erich. Well, I guess there's Lacey Von Erich too. But
yeah, Lacey Von Erich and the brothers, the Benoit.
There's only one brother left.
I kind of link Benoit in with the Hart family as well because grew up.
He wasn't a member of the family, so
he wasn't the family, but he was very close. Like
I wouldn't
when Owen died, him and Brett did their big match the next night at WCW.
Like I wouldn't put Dynamite Kid in with that family because he wasn't a member of the family. He was like adjacent. See here. Death and Legacy. So Chris Von Erich was found by his brother and mother outside of their family farm, suffering from a self-inflicted 9mm gunshot wound to the head.
Yeah,
and I'm pretty sure Kerry killed himself the same way because of this. I don't know. Like him and Kerry were very close.
I just heard that the Kerry ending was more like the way that
I know. You said
Eric found or Kevin found Chris.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm looking it up right now.
And for those of you that think we're spoiling Iron Claw, this is like spoiling Titanic. This is a part of history.
I don't give a fuck what people think is spoiling. I'm not here to accommodate them.
You see, they're going to have a 6-episode Mr. McMahon Netflix documentary series coming out. Like this at the end of September. That's going to be nuts.
Where is it? The Kerry Von Erich article is so much longer, than Chris.
Yeah.
He lost his foot and everything. It's so weird.
Yeah. He wrestled for the longest time without people knowing. There was a lot of wrestlers that didn't have feet.
I saw him wrestle live when he was missing the foot, but I didn't know it, obviously.
And I don't think most people know it. He said they showered with his fucking boot on, they said.
That's really weird.
Yeah, he didn't want people to know that he was weak and broken.
Addicted to painkillers. So it says, blah, blah, blah. Kerry ended his own life with a single gunshot wound to the heart with a 44 caliber pistol on February 18, 1993 on his father's ranch in Texas. just days after his 33rd birthday, he was found by his father, Fritz, who stated his last words to him were, "Dad, I love you," before hugging him and going in the woods to take his own life. Didn't Fritz find him in the movie? And then then he told his brother?
I don't think that's. I thought
there's
Kevin
like a scene where he's
him.
all mad at his dad because he shows no emotion or something.
Yeah, Fritz didn't really care in the movie.
Yeah,
and then Kevin went and found him and carried him into the house and put him on the table. Spoiler.
Whatever, dude. Yeah, and it was 2 years after his younger brother died.
Yeah. A lot of death in that family.
Yeah, too much. Kevin's the only one of his generation left.
Yeah, the end of the movie when he was like, "I used to be a brother."
Yeah, Zac Efron on steroids.
Yeah, that movie I liked that movie. I thought it was fine. I thought it was hilarious how off the Ric Flair guy was. He seemed so fucking.
The guy who played
fucking off.
The guy who played Kerry Von Erich was small. Kerry Von Erich was a big dude.
Yeah. He's a good actor though.
Kevin Von Erich wasn't bigger than Kerry Von Erich in size. He wasn't.
Yeah.
But in this movie, he was.
Yeah, those guys just had us to try and bulk up for the role, and Zac Efron fucking went murder mayhem bulk up.
Yeah.
The guy who did Ric Flair, it's the funny part about that is just about everybody does a better Ric Flair than that guy does.
It was bad.
It's so
they
funny.
could have gotten Jay Lethal to do a better Ric Flair.
Dude, that would have been hilarious.
Yeah, because that's a race swap that no one saw coming.
That was like if Jay Lethal played Ric Flair, I would die. They're actually pussies for not doing that.
Everybody loved his Flair impersonation. Even when him and Flair got in the ring and did it back and forth, I almost died from that. It was amazing. All right, we're gonna go do actual Mania now. You guys should sign up. It's linked right there in the chat. It's linked in the description. Go there, sign up, help support the show, get a cool show. And we'll see.
Patrons $5 and above. Come on.
We'll see you there.
In the beginning, there was nothing. And then there was the Drunken Peasants Podcast.
Drunken Peasants. Drunken Peasants. Drunken Peasants. Drunken Peasants. From the strangest corners of the internet, gonna get TP'd by Billy and Ben. You know where you can find them at. Get ready, cause they're gonna kick your... Drunken Peasants. Drunken Peasants. Drunken Peasants. Drunken Peasants.